we have a rolling start, and that means that we'll be off to a smooth start, which then means that we should be able to see when drivers will be able to perhaps pull off overtaking maneuvers to the race start. So we are riding with Max Verstappen as he takes off and goes on a half of a pace lap in some ways. That was Dunlop chicane as he comes upon the final couple of corners before the field prepares to start the race. Evan, I'm so excited, and I hope you are too. Looking forward to the green flag.
Yeah, this should be a really good one. We are going to have a rolling start, of course, as Wei-Han said, on one of the longest straights of any circuit. Just over 1.5 kilometers is the main straight from Panasonic Corner down towards turn number 1. It is, of course, Josh Thompson and Florian Lebigra, both members of Team Redline, who will be starting at the front of this one. We are on board with Verstappen here for the race start. We have 600 brake horsepower plus machines ready to go and roaring to go here at one of Japan's finest racing facilities. Just hold it, the pace car pulls into the pit lane, meaning everything is a-okay. Thompson gets the control, the pace at the front, and now, oh no, bit of a hold again from Thompson, and now we go racing here at Fuji Speedway. Look at the start from Max Verstappen. No, he has to drop back, jump the gun a little bit too early. Reaction times very much on point, but even a little bit too early up the front. Looks like Lebigra is going to try go for the move on Josh Thompson. Bit of a dive as well from Pedro Dean in towards the first corner. There is a car gone wide there as well. I think that is Steinbraten who's gone a little bit wide. Victor Miranda as well looking to battle for this one. Verstappen and Vicenje side by side then in towards Coca-Cola corner at turn number 3. Verstappen just gets the move as well. Fabrizio Belziti as well looking to make a move on Caio Gaspar for 7th position. All relatively cleanly here. We have somehow got 34 cars safely through the first sector at Fuji.
34 cars through a first sector at Fuji. This goes to show AMX10, it steps things up and it brings a challenge. Chris Lillam and William Chadwick battling side by side here. The Brits are not being kind to each other. We're 3 wide in some areas. Gustavo Ariel trying to dive through. Who is that trying to go up the inside? That is the 13 of Chris Lillam taking things 3 wide. A little bit of a battle there, and they are continuing to settle themselves out in the background because the drivers know that the positions they get early on are gonna prove the difference later. And now, as we see here, up in the top, Josh Thompson's dropping back. Ollie Steinbraten is moving forward. Victor Miranda's up, and it is Lebierge who is currently in the lead in that number 15. And look at this, still side by side. We watch around. We see these drivers with lots of pace. William Chadwick, Caio Gaspar dropping quickly to Simon, who is up and moving. Zuba's through. Everybody's starting to break slipstream a little bit, and you can see the drivers trying to slot into that slipstream. We're first lap down. Wei-Han, 8 laps are going to move very, very quickly here.
Yes, the first lap has just gone by so quickly, and all the drivers are going absolutely defensive indeed, going towards the inside to defend their position, and then back to the outside to get the optimal entry into turn 1. But you do have Florian Lebigra as your race leader at this point. He's climbed 1 position from where he started from, so that's great stuff indeed. We have a look at Verstappen as we follow Verstappen through Coca-Cola corner and into 100R. That was Verstappen somewhere in the middle of the field. As we now have a look at Pedro Dean, who sits in third. He's under a lot of pressure from Victor Miranda, making his way through the hairpin. Well, it is kind of a hairpin, although it's not a very sharp hairpin. It still is a hairpin. There's Pedro Dean in third. He's trying as best as he can to try to close his gap with Pedro Oliveira, who sits in second position. As we do also have a look picture-in-picture for the battle for 6th position, currently held by Belziti, because it is a huge traffic jam situation that we have now. As the drivers come upon now, this is the part of the track that where drivers will go a little bit faster. So we're coming upon the final couple of corners, I believe, and this is Lebigra, who will probably round off the second lap of racing as he leaves the final corner for the 2nd time in this race to continue to hold on to the race lead and lead everyone through. So he's built himself a huge gap of 1.2 seconds, which means that he would probably be a little comfortable with all the gains that he's made at this point. So everyone else behind that single file, nobody thinking of defensive moves at this point. So it's a good sign that the rhythm of the race has kind of settled in and everyone is going racing well indeed, Evan.
Yeah, Zuba and Chadwick battling in the background. You can see the picture-in-picture. This is the battle for 6th position between Fabrizio Belziti and Chris Lulham, but the gap up the front from Florian Lebigra to Pedro Oliveira is now 1.4 seconds, 1.5, and ever so increasing. Lebigra has the bit between his teeth here and he wants to take a win in AMX Global Season 3. We're now on board with Belziti, looking back at the ever so fearsome Chris Lulham. The Briton is certainly a star-studded sim racer, and he's a man to fear, and Belziti maybe knows that, running a little bit wide on the entrance to the turn 6 hairpin. His exit was pretty much nailed on. This is the BMW for Belziti, and Chris Lulham is running, of course, the Acura. So you're going to see the difference between these two machines as we are hopping through battles left, right, and centre. Don't you know where to look? There's cars going for moves here everywhere. Victor Miranda of Texaco Racing by Tony Kanaan being one of them, of course. He's looking to get past Pedro Dean. Maybe a bit of a slipstream down the main straight, doesn't go for the lunge in towards the final corner. He just wants to get the exit out of turn 16, absolutely puts pedal to the metal, and is now going to hunt for this one down in towards turn number 1. You've got to be brave, got to have late braking, especially into this first corner, if you want to try and get the move done. You can see both fairly even in a straight line, but the slipstream slightly helping Miranda. Is there going to be a lunge down the inside by the Brazilian? He's looking, he's still looking. Here comes Victor Miranda. He commits late. That kind of catches Pedro Dean off guard. And a brilliant move by Victor Miranda. He's up onto the podium here at Fuji Speedway.
Victor Miranda, take a bow, because that was brave, it was beautiful, it was everything you wanted to see out of a GTP car pass. And take a bow, salute, whatever you want to say. That was a good run. Now Victor Miranda is going to set up to try to run into the second place slot, as we see Josh Thompson under pressure from Pedro Dean, Chris Lulham, Fabrizio Belziti battling it out. You see Josh Thompson, look at him, he's under pressure and he's cool, calm, collected. He is just looking up, he's looking around. He knows what he needs to do to hold that position that he's in P4 and try to chase down for P3. He knows that he needs to just settle things in. These cars do not play well to being overdriven. If you really try to push these cars more than they want, they're gonna bite back. They're so simple to drive, but a little too much and it'll catch you off guard like it did right there. That number 17, Fabrizio Belziti going wide, and David Toth can smell it. David Toth is gonna try to take advantage up the inside here through the right-hander, and look behind him, Max Verstappen is gonna go past his teammate Ollie Steinbraten and try to move forward, and there it is, the position swap, and it is gonna be Belziti is still ahead of Toth, but Max Verstappen is now in the mix and gets past Ollie Steinbraten and is going to try to battle up towards these two up in the front. And Wayhan, watch this dive up the inside because David Toth is going to go for it. And I think David Toth, if he can stay late enough on the brakes, and he's got Gustavo Ariel for company as well, what is this 5-car pack going to do?
Absolutely an intense 5-car battle indeed. Of course, held by Gustavo Ariel, a very fast driver, and Verstappen currently in 11th. He does kind of want to make some position gains as well. So this is all led by Ariel, who's under certainly a lot of pressure. He's just had his position taken by David Toth as they went into what would seem to 100 out. Oh, that is a car that's gone around. Someone's gone around that. Oh no, it seems to be Belziti and Steinbraten, who have probably found themselves at the receiving end of an incident, and that leaves them out of contention for that mid-pack battle. Of course, some of the surviving drivers, Verstappen, Toth, and Ariel, continue on the pursuit for the 8th position at this point. Well, that happened right under our noses, and it was so sudden. But of course, these drivers have managed to handle it well, Evan.
Yeah, managed to escape that one. Very unfortunate for Belziti and Steinbraten, who were both having a very good race, but there was a bit of contact behind. I think it was Belziti ahead. I think Steinbraten just nicked the rear of Belziti, sent him round, and then Belziti was just a spinning tot across the apex of the corner. Not really much that he could do about it, but Lebigra still leads this race. We are looking at Josh Thompson putting the pressure on Oliveira in towards turn number 1 on the defensive approach. That's going to leave Josh Thompson to go for the outside break to about meters later in towards the first corner, and the Team Redline driver just tries to hang it around the outside. Exit is in hand for Pedro Oliveira. He can use this to defend here, but he's got Lulham and Thompson right on his tail. Is Thompson going to go for the dive into Coca-Cola corner? No. Pedro Oliveira defends it successfully, and now that line from Josh Thompson is actually going to put him under a little bit of pressure from Chris Lulham and Pedro Dean right behind. You can see Oliveira looking to focus. There's that's a bit of a spin actually. Thompson big into the wall goes Josh Thompson. almost making contact with his Team Redline teammate Chris Lullum. That's now 2 Redline drivers we've lost heading in towards the Turn 6 hairpin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a GTP car in absolute ruins.
I told you all, these cars do not like it when you try to overdrive them. They'll give you everything you want to a point, and when you put too much in, they're gonna bite back, and we're starting to see that bite back point. These Team Redline drivers know where that edge is. They know how to find that edge, but we're starting to see that it's easy to go over the edge, especially when you're getting towards the end of a heat. And remember, they've got another 8-lap heat after this, but unfortunately, that is just, oh, that car is trash. It's sent back into the garage, and that is probably going to be your Heat 1 completely over here. I'll tell you whose Heat 1 is not over at the moment. It is going to be Dean, who's chasing down Oliveira, who has got passed by Lullum. And Chris Lullum is trying to hold on here, and now watch this. Toth is going to have a dive up the inside. Pedro Oliveira knows he's in trouble. The Tony Kanaan driver, though, is very smart, very wise, and he's going to go through. We watched him with the UFC showdown face in the beginning of AMX 0, and we see he is keeping that same cool, calm, collected demeanor here in AMX 10. He's going to try to hold off David Toth as much as he can here, but look at David Toth, very, very fast, back on the back of this Tony Kanaan GTP car, and is just settling in. We're starting to see that mixture between the drivers getting very antsy, very aggressive, and settling in, and Max Verstappen showing the aggressiveness that he shows characteristically on track, and just sending it up the inside there of Dean, and just says, thank you very much, I'll take this. I'm not in the mood to wait and see how these two settle things out. And now Max Verstappen up into 6th place. He's gonna dive up the inside here and go for 5th. A little bit of bump to bump, and you can see the face, little bit of comment there. And now Max Verstappen just bullies his way up into 5th place, doing a characteristic Max Verstappen move. Just sends it up the inside. And Pedro Oliveira does not care. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. And ladies and gentlemen, Max Verstappen is now in the top 5, and that is a moment. We got a replay in the bottom right of the Josh Thompson crash, Wayhan.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate outing for Josh Thompson as a ding there, and he went straight into the wall, and that's unfortunately his contention for this race over, because he did start from pole position. We do have the white flag this time by, and we have an overtaking attempt by Peter Zuba on Pedro Oliveira, it seems. So that's a move for P6 that has been successful. So Zuba now takes 6th position, and he has to defend his 6th position from Pedro Oliveira. Of course, Pedro Oliveira after having that exchange with Max Verstappen, he doesn't exactly want to lose any more positions, so he has to. So absolutely, the pressure is on him to try to retain his ground as much as possible. We have a look at Chris Lullum, who's currently set in 3rd position. He wants to try to make the move for P2 work, because we've got less than a lap of racing to go. Both drivers are separated by 0.2 of a second. It is Miranda with a slight bit of advantage at this point. If we do have a look at the last time by, though, Chris Lullum has the lap time advantage. So Chris Lullum goes along the inside of Dunlop chicane, makes the overtaking move work, and Victor Miranda seems amused by that overtaking move as we come towards the final 2 corners of racing. So the driver who's done everything right will be Florian Lebegia, who's currently at the race lead and who will likely take the race win. But the battle here ensues for P2, because this is the battle to watch as the drivers come upon the final corner, it seems, here at Fuji Speedway. Chris Lullum made the last lap move work in his favor, and he's going to have to go defense. There's someone's gone around. That seems to be Verstappen, who's gone around as well as David Toft, but Verstappen will gain from that incident there. So it will be Lebegia who takes a race with Lullum and Miranda, but Max Verstappen will lead the train to take 4th position for Heat 1 here at Fuji Speedway. Or is that going to be another driver? Is neck and neck race finish there, but Verstappen edges out the rest of the drivers, Pedro Oliveira and Will Chadwick, to take home 4th position, with the other drivers finishing in their respective positions. What a race finish, and that's a post-race shunt there between Verstappen and Oliveira, but great racing by all of these drivers involved.
A brilliant conclusion to action here for the first heat of Fuji Speedway. We've got another one coming up, folks. Exact same 8 laps again, ladies and gentlemen, and it should be a good one. It is in the end there between David Todt and Max Verstappen, and not too sure what actually happened, but certainly they were both off the road, and the Dutchman was facing the inside curve, which you probably shouldn't be heading through Panasonic Corner. But we're looking at Maurizio Lozano, who is coming home to finish 23rd, a valiant effort, as Luca